For RealAgriculture, I'm Kelvin Hepner. We're at the 2025 CropConnect Conference, and pleased to be joined here in our RealAg studio area by Adam Pukalo of Ventum Financial, based in Winnipeg. Adam is also the Winnipeg chair with the Canadian Association of Farm Advisors. Certainly, farm advisors, we talk about it frequently, Adam, how much effort there is going into farm succession and how we have this massive transition that's happening across Canadian agriculture. Certainly an important role across the country right now.
Yeah, exactly, Kelvin. So today, the Canadian Association of Farm Advisors, we had a panel discussion just to give varying opinions to show the integrated approach that CAFA can bring for a lot of for a lot of farms. So today we went over a few different scenarios. So we had a farm operation. Again, this is fictitious, no real information here, but John and Lilia, John is 55 years old. They've been married for 30 years. They have 1,500 acres, and they're looking at that succession plan. How does that work with their 3 children? And one actually is going to be farming potentially. The 2 other ones, they're kind of thinking about it. They maybe went to technical school and things like that. So again, how does that work? How does the scenario look in the advice? So for example, from my perspective, I would be kind of talking about a roundtable discussion first off for a family. So now you might, again, use your lender, part of CAFA, or your accountant, your lawyer. So a roundtable discussion, I think, is very important. I would say if that's the one thing that anybody's kind of listening or viewing this would say is, do a roundtable discussion with your family. And again, easier said than done with family dynamics and things like that, but there are people that can kind of help with that, whether through its CAFA or, again, who you already work with. And then I would say, again, 3 questions to kind of go over with a client like this that, again, they're talking about farm succession and kind of where to start. So are they ready to give up any of the decisions or control of the farm right now? So again, if you're 55, you might have 5, 10, 15 years still left. And that's where, do they want to give up some control now to the children? Do they just want to employ them? So kind of a few things. The second question I would kind of go into is about communication. So that's a huge thing, is are they ready to have a business partnership and communication rather than a parent-child? Because I often hear that as well, as the having that transition from a business to a partner, that's really tough, I would say. And then the last one that, again, CAFA members really help out with is kind of talking about whether they want the farm to succeed and kind of carry on. So many people, I'm sure, work with 3rd, 4th generation farms, but other times, they have kids that aren't going to carry on. So that's something to really kind of think about is, will that farm, I guess, do they want to carry on? And ultimately, what do the owner generation want? So again, CAFA is, we have so many different types of people, whether it's appraisers or insurance or just non-financial related as well too, to kind of help out farms with these types of succession questions and things like that.
Yeah, I think those are 3 great questions or key questions that it's good to simplify or break it down into those 3 questions as kind of a starting point. One question I have, Adam, is we have accountants, like you mentioned. There's appraisers, there's insurance, there's the lawyer side of things. There's so many different aspects to consider when it comes to farm succession, and sometimes one aspect takes a lead. Or I'm curious what you recommend in terms of balancing all those different interests in going through the process. How do you figure out who to lean on most, or who to lean on when in terms of those different advisory services?
Yeah, that's a good question. So again, it sounds like a priority question. Like, how do you prioritize what to do first? Well,
do we do this for tax reasons? Do we do it for family reasons? Do we do it for legal reasons? Like, there's just different interests, and I guess that comes back to some of those questions you were asking.
Yeah, so that's a really good question. I think the number one thing is the most natural thing that comes to your mind. So if I were to ask you that question, what comes to your mind first? If it's family, then we should be talking about family first and kind of going through that. So I think that's it'd be, yeah, what's the first thing that comes to your mind? Because that's the most natural thing. And I'm sure everybody's kind of heard the quote before, if you fail to plan, you're planning to fail. But Benjamin Graham, right? So Benjamin Franklin, sorry. Benjamin Graham's a famous investor. That's why it comes to my mind. But so yeah, I would say kind of most naturally what comes to your mind, that's when you can prioritize it. Now, again, whatever professional you're talking to, if it's an accountant, they might talk about that a little bit more, the investment or legal, but it obviously all kind of works together.
Yeah. Well, thanks for your time, and enjoy the rest of CropConnect here, Adam. Thank you for stopping by.
Thanks, Calvin.